Good morning, everybody. So I wanted to make a video about the tools that I use with KAP. So in KAP, when you go to a session, you get a readjustment in your energetic body. So you have different kind of bodies. You have a mental body, emotional body, have physical body, energetic body, like there are yogic names, specific yogic names for it, but there's like atomic body, atomic body, causal body, bliss body. There are so many, right, sheets, right? And what happens is during a KAP session, the energy can make a shift in one of the bodies, right? And when that happens, the physical body is the last to follow. So there may be an adjustment in an emotional body, or in a mental body, or even on the physical body, or in the astral body. So when there's a change on one of those bodies, there's a restructure that happens because of the realignment. It all follows down until it hits the physical body, and there is an embodiment, a readjustment and a realignment of your embodiment. So that means if there was a trauma in the past, it's stuck in your mind, right, as something that happened there, and there's an emotion attached to it, right? And because of that, your body is reacting in certain ways to people, or you're limited in certain ways of expressing yourself, right? Or having certain kind of experiences. You're blocked because you have that experience, and there's that judgment. So you're not open to anything that has to do with that. So what happens is, when there's a readjustment in one of the bodies, the energy makes a shift. Let's say it can just release the emotional energy, so you just have the memory, but all of a sudden there's no emotion attached to it. Or you can see the memory as being recontextualized from a different point of view, and all of a sudden the emotion also changes. And when that happens, all of a sudden you're free, you're open. What can also happen is, from previous lifetimes or karmic patterns, from your parents, because through generations we also give things, right? We receive things. So for instance, in my sessions, I had experiences where I realized, like, first you heal yourself, right? You do your own healing, then you heal the familial system, family system, and then you're ready to heal the collective system, right? So it's like you're growing as a tree, connecting to the earth and to the whole cosmos. So with my sessions, I noticed that there were times where I could see my own issues, my own fears being recontextualized and released and let go of. And then there were sessions where I saw things that I received from my family. For instance, there were moments where I felt the anger and the shame that my mother carried, and the guilt that I received from them with my conception, because they didn't want me to be conceived, right? It was like I was an accident. And so all of that, it stayed. Also, the way my father lived his life and the way his life progressed, those patterns, they were imbued in me. So I had to let go of that, because those patterns, they tend to recreate what had happened before, and you have to make it conscious. And in consciousness, it can be recontextualized and healed and let go of. And you can have a new possibility, a new opportunity. Otherwise, you're just repeating the past mistakes of the sins of your father become the sins of the son. So with sin, I mean ignorant mistakes, right? Because you don't know better. So there were also moments where I saw past lives. It was like I was standing in this open space, and I saw like iterations, energetic bodies, and I saw there was a through line connecting us all. And I looked at them, and I realized in my past lives, and there were a lot. I didn't see them all, but I saw like 9, 10, and there was probably more. But I saw two that stood out. One, it was a time where I was a warrior. I was a warrior on a battlefield, and I had a sword, and I had a duty, and I was given a task to carry out some important to a battle, to face something. And then and there, I was a coward, and I lost my spirit. I lost my spirit to fight. I lost my impulse of my inner strength, that lion part of you that's filled with fire, that wants to cut through everything, like the spiritual warrior. It was beaten. He lost his courage, and he felt ashamed because of that. And I saw him, how he was beaten, lying there on the ground, and he just had no spirit in him to fight. He just was ashamed that he ran away, and that he betrayed himself. So a healing occurred. It was seen with love and light, and he rediscovered that power, and I immediately felt it in myself. And all of a sudden, I saw in myself, in my life, in this life, all the times that I had acted cowardly, that I acted in a cowardly way, patterns of cowardness. And I realized that it was all because I had this limited way of expressing myself, of being, because it was all attached to that, right? And then I saw another part. There was a woman who was starving of hunger, and I realized I lived as her, and I was so hungry and literally starving that my only wish was to eat as much as possible, to eat as much as possible. And I realized when that was healed that in this life, it's like whenever I had patterns where I had emotional eating, or where I ate more than I needed, where I treated food as something to binge, to make myself full, to stuff myself, I never understood why I did that, why that was happening. But when that part was healed, I felt a resolvement. I felt an understanding, and I could let go of that. And all of a sudden, all the emotional eating, binge eating, all of that pattern stopped, because I realized I don't have that energy anymore that's guiding me, that's unconsciously pushing me towards something. Because in one of the sessions, I saw that if you're this being who's made up of all these interest bodies, and all of these bodies have programs in them, right? It's like a system that's functioning. You have to be aware what energy is driving you. One day you may be driven by this to go this way. The other day you may be driven by this to go this way. And you may think they're just impulses, my desire, my genuine things arising, my genuine wants arising. But if you're not consciously aware enough, if you haven't done enough consciousness work on yourself and delved into yourself through writing, meditation, or psychology work, whatever, it's so subtle to not see what that energy is, right? Because all these movements that motivate us, that drive us to get something, to achieve something, to get something, they're all fueled by this energy, the seeking energy. And the seeking energy, usually, from my experience, it's from some lack. Like, something in me feels unresolved, incomplete, and I need to get something, to do something to make up for it. So I had that experience, and there was one more experience where I saw that there was a through line. And the through line with all those past lives were like, there was a deep desire to be important, to be famous, to be an important person who was worth something, who was recognized, to be reckoned, to be important. And I saw that. And when I saw that through line and I saw all those past lives, I looked at myself in the water before me, and as I looked, I didn't see my face. And when that moment occurred, I felt like this dissolving, and this through line was cut off. And I realized there's no one to get recognized. There's no one to be important. There's no one to want to be seen, right? Because that's all that energy, and there's the identification of that. That was the drive, and now that drive is being replaced, because when the false is seen, it dissipates, it dissolves, and something new, something true can occur. I like this quote from Abraham Maslow that says, without the transcendence in our life becomes nihilistic, empty, and very mundane. It goes on, but it made me realize that KAP has given me this gift, a tool actually, of doing the inner work, of doing the personal work, the familiar work, and then the collective work. Because the visions that I get now in KAP are all about being a light in the world, about living my purpose, about being a servant, serving, not fulfilling my desires, but serving by offering myself, surrendering myself to life, and allowing life, God, the universe, to use me, right? To use me so that things that need to happen can happen through me. I want to be a vessel of love, right? Because when all those false desires disappear, you realize there's nothing really in the world that can make you happy. There's nothing really in the world that can indefinitely, right, forever, give you constant happiness. Everything is ephemeral. Everything can make you happy one day and make you unhappy the other day. In a relationship, in a job, in something that you get. And they lose their quality because you use it up, right? You project onto objects what you think they will give you. But then once you get that experience, you realize that's not the thing. So you go on to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. But with KAP, I realized I was able to let go of false desires. And what then stays is the real, the truth. And the truth is the connection to source, which inspires me to be an expression of whatever I am. So, yeah. I didn't expect to make this video, by the way. I wanted to make another video, so I'm gonna make the other video now. But KAP really is a tool that is holistic, because it's beyond meditation. With meditation, you can stay very mental. You can lose the aspect of embodiment, because in meditation it's like you're grinding. You're grinding to get that next breakthrough, that next realization, that next insight. But it's all usually mental, sometimes energetic. And with KAP, it bypasses all that. You can have a change in your astral body, energetic body, causal body, atomic body, whatever. And when all those bodies go into alignment, you become more and more and more and more in alignment and true to yourself. So it is a process, and it is a safe process because it's very gradual. You will never get an experience that you're not ready for. I think in spirituality, it's like, it's the best deal you can get, right? You're progressing, you're releasing, progressing towards, with progress, I mean, there's nothing really happening. There's only the realization of what is false and the realization of what is real. The real emerges, or is seen as that it was always there, and it's recognized. So the progress is from unbeing to being, right? And you always get something, and it will never ruin your life, right? Like, from all I've seen and everyone I've talked to, there's always been an empowering practice. It's been a practice which allows you to flow with life and not fall out of life. Because a lot of times when people get into spirituality, people can get depressed for a long time. They can lose themselves. They can go search themselves in ashrams, in I don't want to use the word, but religious communities, and they may be seeking to get their new identity there, right? By trying to be there. But it's all just experiences. It's like with travel. People want to travel a lot, right? Because they feel like they're gonna find themselves, or they have experiences where they can find more of who they can be. I mean, travel is great. It's revealing, it's intense, it's a thrill. But you always have to come back, right? You can never escape yourself. A lot of people that I know, they travel to escape themselves. They travel so they don't have to deal with who they are, with what they have, with what they need to deal with. So they want to go to places hoping to be changed, and sometimes they are changed. But sometimes they seek distraction, they seek beauty, they seek things that they don't have now. But then they come back and they still have to deal with what they have to deal with. I mean, I'm no judge, but yeah, life is an inward journey towards staying where you are. And staying where you are can only occur, one, if you tried everything and nothing worked, or two, where you actually go beyond your personal desires. I've never actually done that, go beyond my personal desires. But I did lose a lot of my personal desires. And I did try a lot of things, and it didn't work. I wonder how long of KAP I will be doing in the future. But I do know that it's effective, it's simple, it's clear, and it has results. So yeah, in my opinion, a holistic healing system coupled with embodiment, not just spiritual practices, experiences, mystical experiences, but it's also an embodiment practice. Yeah, amazing. I was a person who had no purpose, who was lost in spirituality, trying to use spirituality to make himself happy, to make himself free from the problems in his life. I was somebody who was afraid to live. And now with KAP, I've realized my purpose. I've realized my potential. And I inherently trust myself and life, the life that I am, to take me wherever I need to go. To understand that we all have a part to play. And you can either do it joyfully or, well, willingly or unwillingly. I remember there was a time in my life where I did death awareness practice. So for some time I was listening to Alan Watts, his lectures, and he has amazing lectures. And he was talking about how in people's life, people should do two things: follow their selfish impulses to the extreme. So be as selfless as you can, as much as you can, just to have that experience fully. And secondly, to contemplate the nature of death. And I did the second one. The first one I tried, but I had my limitations. I had my ideas about being a good person, so I didn't do that fully. But I did do death awareness meditations for months. And when I was doing that, I felt a meaninglessness of everything that I desired for. I felt that the only thing that was important was to be here now, to be soft, to be present, to be appreciative of whatever I'm gifted in this moment, the people that I see, the experience of my body, the experience of the food, the experience of whatever I see around. And there's this feeling of I don't need to go anywhere and do anything. I just allow myself to enjoy. And the desires, because they realized the ambition, the desires in me were all dying down. And there was a deep depression that was brewing, because it was like, if I'm gonna die, what's the purpose of it all, right? So I felt it all like being brewed, and there was a deep depression that was coming up, and I had to go through that. But then the funny thing is, once I stopped that practice, I was changed, but new desires arose. So it didn't reveal me my true essence, or it didn't bring me to who I really am, to my center, and it just gave me experiences of being alive. So please use KAP as much as you can, as long as you can, for as much as you think you need. I really think it will give you everything that you need. Yeah.